Hello and welcome in. Happy Monday. We're coming in here for a divinely delayed week ahead card pull for our collective energy. So as you can see there in the distance, we're having a snow day here. And the kids are home from school. My first one has just bundled and headed outside to check out the falling flakes. We are predicted to receive somewhere between 2 to 4 inches here where I am. Other places in the country are getting much more. Some of you here, I know, have been sending me pictures of your snow totals. And then, of course, others who are here are in a much different climate because as our featured deck this month says winter season tarot, we are experiencing winter here in the Northern Hemisphere. Those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, of course, are having summer. So it's just, again, nature speaking to just the multi-dimensionality of our experiences, but then as a collective and how we can come here and tune into the weather, the season, any given day, what's coming forward to inspire us and to really connect us in with our own inner knowing, with our intuition. And of course, that's going to is such a theme of this year, the year of the Hermit. So without further ado, we're going to begin tapping into this tarot deck that is just so beautiful and really helps me warm up to the idea of a long winter ahead because I am a summer girl, this Leo. And yet I really have been learning to appreciate finding the beauty and the joy and the warmth in any given moment, and a lot of little blessings happening here just today. I've shared before on the Sharecast I say little bit of driving Miss Daisy energy for myself around driving in inclement weather, not my thing. Having a little, as I've, over the years become increasingly more anxious about some of those things. And while I have some very good responsible drivers here in my home, one of them, as I mentioned, my husband, sustained an injury to his foot over the weekend. And while it is his left foot and we drive with our right here, again, mindful of all the different ways that we all move about in different places and spaces in the world, that it was going to have to be me and my daughter, who is an excellent driver. But we actually were able to make arrangements to postpone her appointment, one that we were really trying to squeeze in before she heads back to college next weekend. And I was, having some concern there about the pressure to endeavor, out into this weather. And it all worked out, made a call, was able to change the appointment. Kids have a snow day and they're enjoying that. And just everything is just unfolding in a way that I really feel very grateful in this moment to just be in whatever weather, and using that as an analogy for whatever our present moment brings, whatever energies that we find ourselves in. So with that, we're going to connect in here with this beautiful winter season tarot deck. I'm going to also pull us an oracle card for this week from Shine from the Inside oracle cards as well. So we'll have a little message to punctuate our week ahead guidance. And then we're going to dip into our astrological weather this week and all the other things that may come forward as we go. So let's see what we have coming in here for this first full week of 2025, January. So bringing in our collective energy. And let me actually spray before we begin a little new light, bringing in that new light here to this fresh month, fresh calendar year. And I did a lot of cleansing and clearing of the space in here. I'm still working on getting everything just so as I'm diving into our 2025 year ahead spreads, but just in the cleansing and clearing of the spaces, wanting to bring in that new energy for us to really turn that page and really dive into these energies that are available for us here in the new calendar year. So let's shuffle up and our collective energy comes in here to bring forward these 5 tarot cards, which I often say, that first full week of the month very much sets the template for what we may expect the month to look like and feel like. Every week is unique. And of course, things are responding to the macro, the micro. And when we bring our collective energy in here, you're always invited to take what resonates, leave the rest. That's how it works. There's always someone there to pick it up. But that being said, I love to hear from all of you about the wild ways in which these cards come to life throughout the week. And we really connect in with just what those signs and symbols are communicating to our wise selves. If you would like a personal card pull this week, please feel free to let me know. It's pretty much going to be the same throughout January, where as I prioritize a lot of the comprehensive session work that I have going on. Of course, we're just kicking off a new January empowerment pack. And we are midway through our month ahead messages, as the part 1 is already available. And for everyone who is already with me for January, we're going to be diving into your personal month ahead cards this week. If anyone would like to join us, that's still available. So you can snag the January empowerment pack to come along with us for this first month of the year. And then likewise, all who are a part of the 2025 year ahead. I tease, but it's really, I'm just about to record part 1, and that will be to you in your inbox this week. So I'm very excited to get that going. And actually, as I'm recording this on Monday, I am offering a very special New Year pricing for that 2025 year ahead spread until Wednesday, the 8th of this week. So if anyone would like to join, there is a special pricing available. This is my biggest reading of the year, a 25 card spread where we dive into collective astrological weather. We do a color, crystal, and spirit animal for the year. And then we get into your 20 personal cards, which are about each quarter, every season of this year. We do an oracle card pull, and then we do a tarot card for every month of the year for an overarching energy. And that is something that's there for the entire year for you to revisit anytime. If you work with me throughout the year in any capacity, we always refer back to that reading and weave that in. So it's really neat. It's a wonderful foundational reading to have to kick off the year, again, as a resource, as a tool for you that ultimately we're not predicting anything for your year. We're connecting in with the energy and your intuition. So that is also available. Of course, put the links here for those special offerings that are all happening. Okay, let's get our first card out here. I cannot wait to see this deck. So beautiful, from the very talented Dani'el Norman. Wonderful human, very talented artist, and intuitive, and so much more. So I just love working with her decks, and I can't believe I've sat with this one in my possession for as long as I have. A couple of months now, and I'm just getting to dive into it, but I can't wait. Okay, let's see. Cards can't wait either. They are jumping out of my hand. One card for Monday to kick off not just the week, but the month. Overarching energy coming in here. Look at that. 7 of Wands. You're going to have to excuse me right now. I will be geeking out because every card I see, I'm seeing for the first time too. All right, awesome. A little bit of ice hockey going on here. I love this because 7 of Wands is about protecting ourselves, putting up some boundaries, guarding the goal, if we will. So that's a really awesome symbol of an energy that's about, minding our goals, minding that, that space which is ours, and creating a little bit of perimeter or boundary. As I say, the 7 of Wands comes forward to kick things off. Goalie. I love that. Yeah, think of it in terms of your goals, and you are the goalie. You are the goalie of your 2025 inspirations, aspirations, intentions. Awesome. Okay. Tuesday is our potential blocker challenge this week, what we may be encountering as a challenge. See what's coming forward for that Tuesday energy. Oh, wow. Look at that page of coins. Now, one thing I do know that I've seen just in glancing at the deck, every page has a messenger bag and is a bird. And I love it. It's so awesome. I love the creativity here that, of course, pages are messengers. And so as we will explore with this deck, the pages all bear a messenger bag. So we'll feel into the message of this page of coins, a snowy woodpecker there. What's coming forward as a potential blocker challenge this week. Wednesday is our midweek blessing. Let's see what's coming in here for Wednesday's midweek blessing. One card, please. Ooh, yes, it will thaw. It will thaw out all that snow. 21, the world, full circle, culmination, completion. Look at that beautiful eagle. That is lovely. So we've got a midweek blessing of something coming full circle, something completing, some type of, again, coming into wholeness with something. That is lovely. I can't wait to see how these all weave together. Thursday is how we are growing. So let us see what's coming in for Thursday. Thursday's card for how we are growing this week, this month, this year. How are we growing? Oh, Queen of Swords. I love this because, putting down some of those boundaries, minding our goals, and standing in our power, our truth, and having great clarity in that. So we've got a Queen of Swords coming forward with some clarity for us in how we are growing, the Canadian goose. And finally, Friday, bringing forward a card to wrap up the energies for this week. One card here for Friday. Oh, I love it. Temperance, but how gorgeous is that? Wow. Card 14 of the Major Arcana. So we have 2 Major Arcana cards this week. This very much setting that tone and foundation for the month and the year. We have that middle way, that finding that balance in the middle. So that is, once again, just beautiful. Wow. Okay, we are going to dive into those here momentarily, but we're going to pull one more card here to punctuate our messages. So we will just slip in that, okay. And let's see what is coming forward from the Shine from the Inside Oracle. Now, these are the 2 decks that I'm using for the Empowerment Pack this month for the personal month ahead readings as well. So when you are with me for the January Empowerment Pack, your personal month ahead cards I'll be pulling for you will be 3 from this deck for the beginning, middle, and end of the month. And then an Oracle card here from the Shine from the Inside deck for a message from your higher self for self-care and guidance for this month as well. So let's see. One card for us collectively this week. Oh, it's so funny. It's 11:49 here, Eastern Standard Time, and I was almost ready to press record, and I wanted to do it at 11:11. But I was just finishing up some touches here, getting things ready to go. So it was a little after that I actually popped on, but that's just funny because that, had just come up for me. And so this card is saying, look for the signs and synchronicities, something I know all of us here are very attuned to, but it's just so neat. It's like I said, nature speaks, the universe speaks, when we look at all of those subtle signs and sometimes not so subtle, right? Signs and synchronicities, there's so much insight, guidance, and wisdom to be gleaned from that. And it's like, as you kind of create your own glossary for what those things mean to you, this is the language, the subtle language that the universe speaks to us in. So that's really neat. I look forward to weaving that in here for our messages this week. So let's get into it now. We'll start with some astrological weather, the energies coming in this week, and take it from there. Let's check it out. All right, we are kicking things off here with some astrological weather, the energies that are in the atmosphere here as we are moving deeper into the new year. And, connecting in with some intuitive astrology guidance from Forever Conscious, my favorite resource. I just want to circle back to just sort of feeling into as we're just coming into this new year, some of the energies that you may have been experiencing in these first 6 days. It's the gift of a new year, and yet we may be feeling like there's a little bit of dragging of feet, maybe not making as much progress. And one of the core aspects of that is about Mars being in retrograde. So Mars has been in retrograde since December, will continue to be in retrograde for the first couple of months here of the year. But this is an energy that can kind of create that feeling of taking one step forward, only to have to take 2 steps back. And, this is when the best laid plans, I can attest to that. My weekend, we had a very productive weekend planned. We were just kind of winding down the break period where there's no sports. Like I said, my oldest daughter is home, so all the chicks are in the nest, and, you're post-holiday wanting to kind of clean up and reset and such. And then boom, my husband literally took a tumble, fell in the garage, and now he's hobbling around, on one foot, and it certainly slows him down in his tracks. And he was feeling a lot of frustration, is feeling a lot of frustration about that. So that's a great example of the literal way in which the universe will trip us up when we need to slow down and see something. And that's really the energy of retrograde, that we slow down and we go back over. So, speaking of that, just in these first couple of days, January 1st through 5th, we had the retrograde Mars opposite Pluto. So again, this is kind of tapping into what you may have been experiencing over these first couple days of the year. And then, we'll move forward into this week. So Mars in Leo aligns directly opposite Pluto in Aquarius here. And like I said, this is January 1st through 5th, which was yesterday. I would have been highlighting this on Sunday. So I just want to mention this, that again, this could be bringing about feelings of agitation, frustration, a heightened sense of emotion. Mars and Pluto together can reduce our feelings of patience and compassion. So, we can really feel an urge to get things done or to take swift action. And we can even find ourselves in the midst of a power struggle or feeling like we need to regain some control. I'm going to have to tell my husband this because this is literally what just happened to him. Oh my gosh. So, we can navigate these first few days of this month by remembering to breathe, move slowly, being gentle with ourselves, because Mars is in retrograde. So we're really being encouraged to think about how we are using our energy and our efforts. And some things are just not worth the hassle. And that's what we must determine here without our egos getting too overly involved. Okay, so as we've been sort of riding those ripples, now we arrive here on January 6th, where again, you're going to hear Mars, 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 like Marsha, 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 Mars, 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 Mars retrograde. Sorry, that was a Brady Bunch reference to show how classic, right? We're throwing it back here. Mars retrograde entering Cancer. Now, because I was just talking about Mars and Leo, again, now it will dip into, this is an important date here, today, the 6th of January, as I'm recording this, to note, as our retrograde Mars is moving out of Leo and into Cancer. This is something I highlighted when it first stationed retrograde in December, about the different ways that we would experience this retrograde through those 2 different lenses. So now from Leo to Cancer. So when that happens, our focus may turn to our home and our family life, and we may have to make sacrifices for our family or find ourselves needing to determine how to set boundaries or navigate family issues. Well, here we go with the goalie popping up to set the tone for this week. And, again, I'm sitting here as the poster child. This is literally describing my last several days today. Like I said, it's a blessing when all the chicks are in the nest and everyone's here. But then there's all the winter gear and the snow tracking and the hot cocoa making and all of the tending and all the things. So, again, finding the blessings in all of it. So, with Mars remaining retrograde in Cancer until February 23rd, we have a good amount of time here to work with this energy. And this movement of Mars can also stir some deeper wounds around what makes us feel secure and safe. So we may be feeling some maternal wounds rising, or perhaps find ourselves struggling when it comes to our role as a caretaker. Yes, and yes, I'm definitely feeling this, and I wonder how it may speak to you. Remember, Mars retrograde is ultimately helping us to recalibrate how we're spending our energy and what we are giving ourselves to. So it's up to us to rewrite the patterns of the past and to recognize what is truly important and worthwhile. So again, just a little note here. With the coming around again energies, which can be very frustrating. It's that whole, I thought I already dealt with this. I thought this was already handled, and then something crops up again. And it can be presented to us through a very unlikely way, because it's a whole different circumstance, player, situation, scene, and yet it harkens back to those energies that bring up for us some of these maternal wounds or aspects that relate to home and family and identity and all of those Cancerian aspects. So again, this is just, I'm taking a little extra time here because, this is not just this week. We're talking about from now until February 23rd. So again, with that running in the background, keeping that, and that's what retrogrades are about, being mindful, not fearful. We're not casting forward a spell to say, okay, now great, now I got to mark the calendar. I'm going to be dealing with some of these things for the next month and a half. No, we're saying be aware, use it to inform you so that you can make your empowered choices with that information. Okay, so also this week, we're highlighting January 8th, Mercury enters Capricorn. So Mercury entering Capricorn is giving us this gift of precise communication. Mercury in Capricorn lets us clear away the fluff and get to the heart of the issue. Well, would you look at that? Queen of Swords showing right up this week as how we're growing. This is exactly what this is saying. This opportunity for us to, and you can call it fluff, you can call it whatever it is that you're clearing out of the way and cutting through to get to the heart of an issue. So we'll definitely be weaving that in when we take a look at this Queen of Swords that we have here. So while Mercury is in Capricorn, it can leave us prone to being a bit blunt or perhaps cold. Yes, exactly. That's the other side of that double-edged sword to be conscious of about the Queen of Swords. So it's a good energy for figuring out how we want to approach something. And it allows us to move away from our emotions and into more of a logical mind. So you can use this energy to help you step away from any emotions that may be clouding your judgment. Now, we're also going to talk about something occurring on Saturday, which is quite noteworthy. Not only is it the 111 portal, 111, January 11th, but the lunar nodes are changing signs. Okay, we'll be talking about this. This is really one of the biggest cosmic events of this year. So the lunar nodes are going to change. So the lunar axis is going to shift from Aries and Libra to Pisces and Virgo. This changes our focus for the collective because the lunar axis determines where we are heading as a society and what we are moving away from. That's the North Node, where we are moving as a society, the South Node, where we're moving from. So, this is where we are best served to put our attention. What are these energies showing us? How are they guiding us? So you could say that this represents our collective purpose. So the lunar axis shifting to Pisces and Virgo indicates a need to shift away from a more practical, balanced, and structured of elements of life and into more of a creative, spiritual place. We're going to be hearing a lot of Pisces as well. The Pisces energy is really influential at this time and will continue. So we're not being told here to shun the practical, but to make room for more creative and open-ended ways of being and thinking. So Pisces energy is really going to dominate here because it's going to align with the North Node and indicate where we are heading as a society. The Pisces North Node helps us to fight for peace, greater compassion, and a more balanced and equal society. And Pisces also rules over our spiritual beliefs, so we may be feeling a stronger need to follow our own moral and spiritual compasses. Yes, and this is what the year of the Hermit is also guiding us to our own inner light, that star inside the lantern that we hold. So there's going to be much more to come on this, but this is very significant. So I wanted to highlight this 111 portal, bringing in this very significant energy, a shift in our collective purpose for this year. All right, let's now dive into our messages for the week. All right, let's kick things off with our oracle message first, because I think that's going to weave for us, looking for these signs and synchronicities as we go through our cards and messages for the week. So what has come forward for us is look for the signs and synchronicities. And so the message coming in here from the oracle is, what's meant for you won't miss you, so look for the signs. And she says, isn't it ironic that as I'm writing this, Ironic by Alanis Morissette started playing? That is life's magic at its finest. Oftentimes, our spiritual journey of self-discovery can be confusing and even intimidating when venturing into the unknown. Our spirit guides send us signs and synchronicities to catch our attention and remind us that we're exactly where we're meant to be. Carl Jung described synchronicity as meaningful coincidences, where two or more signs that occurred randomly were also connected by meaning, not by cause. Do you ever see repeating numbers like 1111, 222, 444, 777? These repeating angel numbers show up when your guides are trying to get your attention. Each number has its own special meaning, like keep your thoughts positive when you see 1111. Animals and nature often show up with a deep significance and spiritual meaning. Signs show up in meaningful ways, and some common ones are pennies, coins, rainbows, butterflies, birds, ladybugs, dragonflies, flashes of light, feathers, scents that remind you of your past loved ones, full body tingles, a ringing in the ear, or even music that pops on the radio in perfect timing. One of my favorite things to do when learning to connect with your spirit guides is to set your spirit sign. Your spirit sign is something meaningful to you that when you experience it, you know without a doubt that it's your angels on the other side. I personally chose something rare, like a hot pink car, so that way, when it shows up, I know it's synchronicity. I also picked the song Landslide by Fleetwood Mac to represent my father who passed away, so when it plays, I know he's watching over me. This is being shared by Brittney Carmichael, the creator of this deck. So the synchronicities seem to speed up when you spend a lot of time in meditation, art, ritual, intentional movement, or prayer. Seeking the signs will bring more magic into your life, so be on the lookout. And the mantra says, I seek out the magic in life by noticing the signs and synchronicities all around me. So I'm curious, do you already have signs and synchronicities, a spirit symbol, if you will? I did an exercise in the past with someone had guided us through an exercise, a group of friends, where we were just kind of centering ourselves and tuning into what our spirit symbol was. which at the time I brought through the butterfly. I always have loved butterflies. I have butterfly tattoos, and my first tattoo was a butterfly, and my AOL screen name was Butterfly Tattoo Z. Way back in the day. But the butterfly had come forward when I really just quieted my mind and just brought forward that symbol for myself, which is perhaps one that's, typical, we tend to see as it's mentioned and depicted here, of course. But just saying that off the cuff, I wonder, do you have any symbols? I mean, I have many, in terms of course, loved ones. I have shared often that for my beloved grandparents, the cardinal and the blue jay, one representing my grandmother, the cardinal, because when I was a child, they always had birds everywhere. They fed the birds and loved birds, and they had a number of sun catchers and things around their home that featured those birds. And the blue jay and the cardinal, of course, with their bold colors, always jumped out to me. And in my mind as a child, I thought, well, the red is the girl and the blue is the boy. So I thought the cardinal was my grandmom and the blue jay was my pop. But actually, of course, the red cardinal is the male cardinal in their species. But anyway, I digress. Birds of all types, messengers. And that's perfect because as we parlay into the potential blocker challenge this week is our first page that's come forward as a messenger bird. So we'll feel into that too. But anyway, I digress. Just saying, what are your symbols? What comes up for you? And I love that idea of picking something perhaps more obscure so that, it's sort of like a secret handshake between you and your higher self to say, okay, what are the chances of seeing a hot pink car, for example? And that when we do see something that bold and striking that gets our attention, we really know that it is spirit. And then the more we practice that, the more faith we have in trusting. I promise that the more that you look out for these subtle signs, you will see them everywhere. Everywhere. It's about to turn 12:12 on the clock here. So, our spirit guides, in fact, send us signs and synchronicities to catch our attention and remind us that we're exactly where we're meant to be. Beautiful. All right, let's get into these tarot cards. All right, here we go. We are starting with our Monday energy, which I just love this symbolism for the Seven of Wands, the goalie, and ice hockey coming in here to set the tone for, as I say, this first day of the first full week, but also really setting the tone for this month and the year. And so as we're exploring this deck, I know that Dani'el shares a lot of her personal anecdotes and what she was thinking in creating these cards. And I just love to include all of that to really weave in different perspective and meaning, and then us tapping into this intuitively for how this is showing up for us. And I'm already loving this symbolism of the goalie and protecting that. So the Seven of Wands, she says, guard that goalie net. Do not let them shoot the puck past it. Defend your position at all costs. And she says, as a teen, I used to play hockey with all the boys in the neighborhood. And this is where I learned to be competitive. I knew I had to have a hockey card in here. I love it. So it's asking, do you believe in what you are fighting for? You are being spiritually challenged and tested by the universe and potentially by the people that surround you. Do you have the strength to keep going? Life will continuously throw situations at you that will test you. Is what you are working on what you really want? Prove it. Is what you have created been produced with rock solid foundations, or will it crumble when times get tough? Overcome the hurdles that you are put in front of. Protect what you have created. So yeah, this is really laying a foundation for, and I think this is important, anytime that we're checking in with ourselves, but, when we're talking, goals, and whether you call them resolutions, intentions, wishes, things that we want to create in a new year, we clean slate, turn the page. What do I want to create? It's a good time for us to look at, okay, I say this is the thing. This is my goal. Are my actions, my behaviors, are all of the things aligning with that? does it make sense? If I'm saying that I want certain results in my life, am I taking the action that support that or not? So it really is just first checking in with yourself and the way that you may be sabotaging your own goals, right? But also, again, the external is a mirror and reflects back to us. So if the people, places, and things in our environment are coming in as a threat or attempting to thwart us and, get into the net, then there's this message here of really tending to your goals. And again, I'm not very athletically inclined and know very little about ice hockey, but I love the analogy of tending to your goal, being your own goalie, right? So that's really setting the tone here for checking in. And check, I know, is a goalie term. Checking in with yourself to see if your goals, your actions are aligned with your goals, and where you may have some holes, where you need to make adjustments and shifts and changes to protect what you are creating in your life, what you're defending, what you are wishing to bring in. So let's take that into Tuesday's energy for the potential blocker challenge. All right. Tuesday is bringing in with a peck, our potential block or challenge this week. And it is the woodpecker coming in as the page of coins with his adorable little Kelly green messenger bag, because pages are messengers. In the court cards, the pages, the knights, the queens, as we have one this week, and the kings are the people, the personalities of the tarot. And so very often they will represent actual people, you, someone in your orbit. Also, they can represent, like I say, personality or aspects that you may be best served to embody, such as we'll talk with this Queen of Swords. So in the context of a potential block or challenge, what does woodpecker want us to know? Page of coins. So that's around the pentacles energy, the coins. Hold on a second. Brief intermission. He just moved. My dog was outside the window. He's wearing a jacket and he looks adorable. And he was looking in at me while I was talking. I wanted to see if you could see him. I'm looking to see if he pops back out. I think he wants to come in. He's at the door. Oh, there he is. Let me see. Takes a little adjusting here. Yeah, he's a Weimaraner, and he's running about. Okay, we'll see if he comes back. He's having a snow day too. Okay. Don't get distracted by the shiny things. Speaking of coins. Okay, pentacles, coins, energy, earth energy, material, tangible. The coins represent money, safety, security, foundations. What are we building in our lives, right? What are we creating? So this card is going to talk to us more about our goals and what we're tending to and what we're building and where is our focus and how is that potentially being challenged this week. So looking at this page of coins, the messenger, seeing a woodpecker can come as a surprise. You can hear them before you see them. And once you do, you cannot keep your eyes off of them. So with their incredibly strong beak, they peck into the tree for food. But first, they listen very intently into the tree. They have a tongue that is 4 inches long. They're hard workers and they do not give up. What they want, they put all their energy into until they get it. Where in your life can you create more strength and perseverance? So make sure that you know what you want, make a plan, and then go for it. Do not give up. So you see, we're sort of being given these foundations, building blocks of priorities and goals. And so first, know what you want, then make a plan. Finally, go for it. And don't give up while you're at it, right? So there's those 4 steps that the Page of Coins is bringing forward for us. Now, as a block or a challenge, this can show up when, I've got big goals. I have great ideas, but I lack the confidence to move forward. Maybe we lack the actual pentacles to move forward, right? We may have great ideas and all the confidence in the world, but we don't have those coins. And we're feeling that as a block because something that we want or wish to create it feels as though we don't have the material abundance that we need, that seed money or that seed of potential to plant in order to. And that's kind of the page usually presents itself holding that coin coming in for us like, hey, here it is, right? And if it's blocked or challenged, then we may see that come up in a whole host of ways. So, if you think that you don't have what it takes to create your dreams, therein lies that lack of confidence, then you're holding yourself back from your unlimited potential. And, again, it isn't to gloss over the fact that a lack of pentacles can be a legit challenge, right? And yet the universe has this crazy way of just showing up with the abundance in the most unexpected of ways. And so it really is about shifting our focus and putting our energy into checking in with ourselves first, like the goalie, to see where there's holes, see where there are places that we may be leaking that energy in all of its forms, the money, the abundance, the sense of safety and security, confidence, having enough, all of that. These are all things that, I don't know, it's reminding me especially about the pentacles because, this is that time of year where we may have just come from a lot of spending, a lot of, whether you're, purchasing things in the holiday season and gift giving or just coming into a new year, and sort of wanting to reset and tighten up the budget or however it could be showing up for us. That a lot of times, we see today there's a lot of advertisements for apps and things that can help you to find out where you're leaching abundance, all of these subscriptions and things that we don't realize we're signed up for or double signed up for, these automatic debits and withdrawals, or, it could be like a daily habit of, spending nominal amounts, but they add up, so it's just kind of checking in with ourselves to find any of those holes. And I think that's interesting in light of the woodpecker pecking at those holes and seeking out with that 4-inch tongue to see okay, what all is in those nooks and crannies that may be blocking or challenging me really moving forward with this seed of intention or this great idea, this thing that I want to create, this goal that I have. So, I think it's pause and listen, because that's one of the messages Woodpecker is bringing through, is to say first they listen very quietly to hear. And I think they can just hear the most subtle of movements, if they're seeking out insects in the tree or however, they're feeding there with the pecking. First, they detect those subtle vibrations, and then they go for their goal. So take a moment, right? Pause and really come into center. And, this is all kind of even the looking for the signs message, is saying to quiet down and look at those signs and really ponder them. So it's really, again, about this mindfulness, about creating space and time for you to have some silence, some quiet, some stillness, to look and listen within first. And then peck, go for it. Make some noise is what I'm feeling. So let's talk about that as we go here, as this potential blocker challenge shows up. Wherein lies the blessing as we feel into Wednesday's energy? Let's take a look. All right, Wednesday is our midweek blessing, and it is the first of our 2 major arcana cards here on the altar this week. Significant energy, and it's the World, the final card of the major arcana, card 21, the culmination, the completion, the wholeness, which on the other side is a new beginning. We start over. So as we feel into the winter season, Tarot's take on the world, she says, a new reality has fully emerged. Who you were a year ago is not the you that stands there now. Ain't that the truth? You did it. A new reality has emerged. So this is beautiful to really kick off this new season, this new year, this new chapter. And so it says, give yourself a huge hug and smile out into the world. You have just completed a cycle. Transformation and life lessons have been learned and implemented into your life. One door is closing and a new cycle of learning is emerging. Take the time to celebrate your success. Know that whatever you learned and completed in this cycle may come up again, we just talked about this, as a test to your next cycle. You have grown from experience and have learned that each choice you make creates the next story in your life. So use this knowledge as wisdom through everything you do. So that's really powerful. As I was talking in the astrological weather for this week and really highlighting the retrograde cycles that we entered into this year with and will continue in for the coming months, that's exactly what I said, the coming around again and the sense that like, oh, hey, I thought I already did this. I already checked this off. And here I am again experiencing something similar. And it feels like I'm spinning my wheels, like I'm going in circles. But you know what we say to that. We bring in one of our favorite signs from nature is the symbolism of the spiral that we see here in this ancient ammonite fossil. That each of these chambers, as we move through, right, and we revisit something, every time we come back to that place, we're coming at it from a different position, a higher perspective, one where we carry with us the wisdom, the healing, the awarenesses that came through the last time that we experienced this similar vibration. So now we're back at it, but we have more tools, right? And so each one is a new opportunity. If we could flip the script on it, feeling like Groundhog Day and coming around again, and when am I going to get a break? And when is this going to stop happening to me? Yada, yada. That's one way. Sure, we can stay there. We can feel the frequency of that perspective. If we step out of that and want to look at it as a blessing, since we're talking about a midweek blessing here, and it's funny because I'm thinking of this card talking about, isn't it ironic, from Alanis Morissette playing while she was writing, the Oracle's message for this card. And, if you're familiar with that song, you know that it's a whole series of lyrics that are just like, it figures. Murphy's Law, isn't it ironic that every time I think that I'm about to do something for myself or, create something in my life, that something shows up to stop it, to sidetrack it, to, whatever it feels like, right? That's one version of the story. So how can we find in that? And I feel that eagle really symbolizing that eagle eye, that bird's eye view from that higher perspective, because the eagle, as one of the many majestic birds of prey, have that ability to do both. Simultaneously, the eagle can see from those high heights all of the vast expanse that's in front of them and that high dimensional view, while also being able to detect the most subtle of movements down on the earth from a tiny rodent. The way that it hunts and the way that it's able to tap into. And I think this is interesting because we have a theme here. When we talk about the woodpecker tuning into those subtle vibrations and listening first before it starts pecking away. Likewise, we have the symbolism of the eagle coming in with that bird's eye view to see things from a much wider, and to me, eagles are freedom. Eagles symbolize freedom, expansion, expression, right? So there's this sense of big picture, seeing this vast expanse first, but also simultaneously being aware of all those little minor details and all of those yes buts, because the yes but is the thing that says, yeah, but I don't have the money. If I had the pentacles, I would do that. Or yeah, but how can I do that when X, Y, and Z? That's all the minor details down on the ground, but that doesn't negate the fact that they feel so real too. So, the blessing is in being able to this is not our first rodeo, right? We've been around this block before because that's what the world is about. The fool's journey of the tarot is starting at zero, the fool, blank slate energy coming in here, ready for whatever, right? It is literally like that untouched snow, that newly fallen snow that it's just perfect and pristine and doesn't have a single mark on it. And then we take that step. And then the 21 cards of the major arcana, from the magician all the way to the world, represent the archetypes of our journey. And I mean, we could geek all the way out where, it's in chapters, really, in stages throughout those 21 cards that represent, babyhood, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, all the way around. And it's just amazing, like the depths that you can get into there. But just looking at it from this practical view of the symbolism of so I've gone through this fool's journey. And when I get there, card 21, it starts again. I continue on. We continue to go around. And so wherein do we extract the wisdom, the guidance, the insight that we have gleaned through these experiences versus the exasperation of here we go again, And it's not to say that we never have that moment, but there's a blessing in this reflection. It keeps catching my eye, and I don't know if it comes up on here, but beautifully you can see this mirror image of, let me get my wand out here, of the trees in the sky, as above, so below. So you see the bird sees all. Isn't that awesome? The symbolism of the bird, the eagle, is experiencing all that is up here as above, just as they're experiencing what's below. If you can make out those trees, that's gorgeous. So there's a real beautiful, subtle, right, symbol. And when we open ourselves up to looking at that, I mean, again, I know, maybe I sound crazy to you, and that's okay too. An average person might look at this card and go, yeah, sure, it's an eagle, there's trees, there's snow, it's melting the world, but when we look closer, when we really pause, and my ears are ringing as I say this, when we pause to ponder, oh, look at that. I see just the finest little outline of the reflection of those trees that are down on the ground up in the sky. Wonder what that might mean. What does that mean to me? What does that make me think of? And this is that dialogue that we start to have with ourselves when we pause, when we slow down, right? So what happens? Lovingly, gently, sometimes not as much, the universe has these natural rhythms and cycles like this very season. Again, winter being about going within, quieting the darkness, the slowing down, the snow days, the just staying put. And, this notion of quieting. And so now we enter into an entire year with the frequency of the number 9 that says, go within, right? With the hermit's energy to your own inner light. What does that mean to me? So again, just really setting a tone here. I'm taking more time today to really lay out these cards that are coming forward to create this foundation of not just the month of January, but the whole of 2025. So that's beautiful to have our first midweek blessing for the first full week to come in here with the world, the culmination of it all. Beautiful. All right, let's get into our Thursday card with how we are growing. Right. Thursday represents how we are growing, and quite appropriately, I really feel this Queen of Swords shows up with this Canada goose, and we can actually see that there is a flock of them here up in the sky in their telltale V formation. Queen of Swords comes in. How are we growing? And, this felt touched upon in our energetic weather report as we were tuning into this week, notably January 8th, which is actually this Wednesday, right? And so looking through the scheme, and remember, these cards are just placeholders. It's not like Queen of Swords only shows up on Thursday. This is all energy that's working together throughout this week that we're bringing in collectively, that we have to work with our own free will, and choice. And so January 8th, Mercury enters Capricorn, and I was talking about that giving us the gift of precise communication, cutting through, clearing away the fluff, right? Getting to the heart of the issue. And yet the Capricorn aspect, we could find ourselves prone to being a bit blunt or perhaps cold. So those are the two sides of the double-edged sword that the Queen of Swords can represent. So how are we growing in that? The Queen of Swords is bringing through the energies of advice and wisdom. So we talk here about the spiritual meaning of the Canadian goose. Seeing the goose can be intimidating. If they see you as a threat, they will not hesitate to go after you. They have a loud honk that makes you stand up and listen. And sometimes they will just not quit. They are brave and they go after what they want. Where in your life can you create more momentum for the things that you desire? Speak up. Ask questions. Do not stop until you have the answers. Truth will set you free. So the message that comes in here says, you are unafraid to speak up, state your truth, and be heard. Without the influence of emotions, you are able to make choices based entirely on logic, truth, and clarity. So fluff free, right? You have been through a lot in life, beaten down, but strength has risen because of it. You will not put up with the lies and untruths, and you see through the hidden agendas of others. You think with your head instead of your heart. A quick thinker, highly intelligent and perceptive. Nothing gets past you. You hold others accountable and the same level of respect as you give others. Your opinion is very much valued. So remember, the court cards are the personalities of the tarot. So this could be you, right? This could be you, meaning, yeah, that sounds like me. Or, wow, I have the potential to step into that because I never thought of myself as someone who thinks with my head and not with my heart. Because I always feel like I get all sappy and emotional, or I get caught up in how other people feel, or yada, 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 you know? And so it's showing to us a potential of what we're growing into, because even if you have no problem telling people where it's at and speaking your truth and all of that, is there an opportunity for you to look at those edges to see where they could be softened a bit, or where there may be a little bit of that cutting double edge, you know? And so, you know, it really is about, I think, taking accountability and having an awareness about how we are operating within the flock, you know, because we see the queen forward here, but we also see the rest in the distance. And, you know, part of that V formation that they do is a part of the wonder of the bird kingdom, but just the way that it's just fascinating and all the things that we can learn from the birds, and that they've really taken a lot of center stage here this week with at least 3 different birds coming forward with symbolism here that we've been tapping into for this week as the messengers. That part of the reason that they fly in that V formation, as I understand it, is to help offset the brunt of, like, somebody kind of takes the front and helps to break the wind, if you will, for the others in the V formation so that they can fly with more ease. And then they rotate and take turns in that front position. So again, what is nature showing us about the ways in which we can work together and collaborate and shoulder things and lean into each other? And, to, you know, and it's amazing, you know, the way that we can really go there to really feel into the signs and the symbols that nature speaks. And so speaking, communicating, the Queen of Swords coming through again with another message of direct, clear, precise, no fluff communication, speaking our truth with love, you know, because I would say, you know, yes, we all have a tendency to operate more from the head or the heart, but they both have a role. And, you know, and with that, it's like head, heart, and gut, your intuitive knowing, your inner compass. So, you know, really, as we try to endeavor to continue to bring these things into greater alignment and harmony, we're growing into our power of speaking our truth, of being direct. You know, I think that there's been a lot, you know, on different ends of the spectrum in terms of a silencing of people feeling comfortable to express or feeling safe to express their point of view or something that they don't understand, or asking questions, because there's a lot of very strong energy coming at us. And I think this is largely in part to social media and the climate that's out there and the energies of whether it be, extremes of things that have been coined as like what's politically correct, or things that have been coined as being called canceling and getting canceled, or keyboard warriors, all of these things that have become a sign of our time that now we're starting to see. And this is a perfect segue into our Friday card of temperance to find that middle path. One extreme to the other of people just saying whatever they want to say with no regard for how that lands. Again, with that harshness, bluntness, coldness versus, because again, it's easy if we are, when we say keyboard warriors, people not coming face to face or seeing one another to really understand the impact of their words or their actions. So there's a lot to be kind of gleaned here with the symbolism of this card coming up. And again, taking time with each of these, because I'm with you as I'm doing this with you in real time, feeling into these energies as they're showing up through the cards to really speak to laying this foundation for not just this week, this month, but this year. So let's finish up this week's messages with our final card for Friday. All right, finally, Friday, bringing in that punctuation mark of our week, wrapping it all up for us with our second major arcana card, the beautiful Temperance, moderation, the middle way, the violet pill, if you will. So from two extremes, finding that center. And I think that's beautiful, again, on the back of talking about whether we're operating strictly from the head, strictly from the heart, following our gut, finding that middle way, finding the balance in all of it. And so you can see here in this gorgeous card, as she stands there looking out and sort of pondering this fractured ice, and perhaps over here is not frozen over, as we see the reflection of the beautiful mountainscape in the water here, and deciding, where to be, where to stand. So let's feel into the winter season tarot's take on this temperance card and how that's speaking to us about our energies this week and wrapping things up. Temperance. Be careful on that ice, you could fall through. Might be better to crawl rather than walk. Not wanting to go backwards into how you used to do things, you tread lightly into all decisions and choices. Tiptoe slowly, confidently, making only decisions that will help you grow into a more enlightened manner. You seek balance and harmony in life. Only those things that align with who you want to be and what feels right to you will be a part of your choices. Find patience so that everything that is meant for you will find its way to you. Everything is happening at the speed that it is meant to. So yeah, this really feels, again, a punctuation mark on how we came in here to this week and really this year, as I started with our energetic weather, speaking to Mars retrograde and that feeling of one step forward, two steps back. Being slowed down and made to go back over things, and how we're best served when we do this, because again, we have an opportunity to learn from hindsight. We always say, if I only knew then what it is I know now. Well, now you know. So here comes the universe answering that call. You wished for it? Here you go. Coming around again, where we spend so much of our time potentially ruminating, right? This was a word from a couple of months ago that I brought in about rumination versus contemplation. But rumination is when we sort of rehash and stew over things in the past that we wish we had done differently, or we continually play back, what we said or did or how we handled something, or, again, that notion of wishing that we knew then what we know now. And this is literally how responsive the universe is. If you do spend a lot of time ruminating, rehashing, replaying the past, should we be surprised when the universe responds by saying, hold on a second, I got that. Let me do a replay for you. Here it comes around again, a situation, a circumstance. again, we can interpret it from any end of the spectrum. We can look at it like there's a gray cloud that follows us around, that no matter what we do, it's like running in place, slipping and sliding, can't get our footing because every time we turn around, something else goes wrong, right? And for all intents and purposes, what we see in front of us may very well reflect that right on back to us. And we can make a very strong case for like, see, you can't deny that this happened. Oh my gosh, let me tell you this story. So this is just a moment in the craziness of my life. I forgot. I haven't even like told anybody this because yesterday was so crazy that I was too busy texting out updates to everybody who wanted to know how my husband was doing. We were getting ready to go to the urgent care, and I knew that we were like strapping in for like the day, because you just never know when you arrive at these places, how long you're going to be waiting or what the circumstances are. And in fact, the universe had many, many of those twists and turns for us. But I'm trying to get everything ready, and I went into the closet, and I was trying to get my shoes, and I lost my footing and started to fall over, just like a clumsy, like nothingness. Like I wasn't hurt at all, but I had an open Rubbermaid container, so that when I fell and my arm like went to the Rubbermaid container, it kept going. It sunk, it went down to the bottom. So I fell over. Okay. I'm holding my phone in my hand. And somehow, so I put my phone down. I'm like, oh, geez, I can feel, I do have a bruise on my leg. It doesn't take much for me to bruise. And I was like, oh, geez, I'm in here falling over. My husband is like, are you okay? Because he's down for the count. And I hear my phone ringing out loud, and I look down, it's calling 911. Okay. So I must have squeezed my phone. I don't know. I guess there's something where in the US anyway, if you hit the button on the side of your phone 3 times, it automatically calls emergency services. So you can't make it up. Okay. First, I ask my husband, I speak up, I'm doing what my Queen of Swords tells me I'm supposed to do. And that is ask for help. I need to put some things away, and I need boxes down out of the garage. So I use my voice and I speak up and I ask him for help. And this is how he fell. He ended up going into the garage to get down the boxes for me that I asked him to get. So you can hear, I'm weaving different stories here. One story says, see, of course, I finally speak up and I ask for help, and I try not to take it all on myself, which always ends with me getting hurt, getting bitter or resentful and frustrated and stomping around, doing it all. Or I speak up and I ask for help, and look what happens. He falls. He sprains his ankle. This happens. That happens. Now I fall. I'm calling 911. It starts to, the snowball is rolling down the hill, getting bigger and bigger. But it was all in the moment. I was able to shift into, oops, hang up, right? And then of course they call you right back, which is wonderful. That these programs are in place, that somebody called from this number. Is everything okay? What's your name? What's your address? And we clear it all up. And here I am, funny story. I'm like literally still standing in my closet, can't make it up. And then we got a second phone call from the local police station, because they said, as soon as this call comes out to us, we have to follow up. Are you okay? Yada, yada. So anyway, I could go on from there because it doesn't stop. We walk into the first urgent care. I had called ahead of time, make sure that they do x-rays. The recording says, yep, we do x-rays, come in, walk in, no appointment, come on in. So we go in and, oops, x-ray machine not working today. We're not doing x-rays. And the place is wall to wall packed with a lot of people that are, battling all different kinds of illnesses and urgent situations. And we were divinely rejected from that urgent care. It was a frustration because everything it took for us to get out the door, for him to get out of the car, for us to go in, only to get turned away. But we ended up at a big, beautiful, clean, urgent care center that, we sailed right through. Yes, we had to wait a very long time after the x-rays for the results. But again, what end of the spectrum am I going to take this in terms of how I am perceiving my experiences and what's happening? And finding that balance, finding that middle way, and how does it serve? So thank you if you stuck around to listen to my ramblings. This is the practical way, at least for me, that I observe the universe speaking to us in our everyday experiences, and the constant choice point that we find ourselves standing at all times, where you get to decide how you're going to perceive, like the eagle, seeing the big picture and the nuance. How am I going to perceive what I see and what's coming up for me and the choices and decisions that I am making? And this is really beautiful. I mean, I love that this card, it's weaving together so many of these cards that we've been talking about when it says, tiptoe slowly, confidently, Queen of Swords, making only decisions that will help you grow in a more enlightened manner. So seeking balance, finding your equilibrium, searching out for that harmony whenever and wherever you can. You're going to slip. Ice is going to crack. Goals are going to get past you. This is life. This is the totality of that wheel of fortune, of all of it, right? So I'm just really feeling it. This really feels very significant. I feel like this is a spread that we can come back to, especially throughout this month, but really laying some strong foundation for the whole of 2025. So thank you for sticking around. It's been fun to see a bunch of you popping in live as I've been talking this morning. Now I've made my way all the way to nearly 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm going to take a break to go check in with my snow bunnies out there. It'll be lunchtime. And then making my way back in for those of you with me for the Empowerment Pack. Keep your eyes peeled. Your month ahead readings are coming your way. And again, anyone else who would like to join us, ways that you and I can connect more comprehensively this month. Number one, if you would like a personal card pull here from this week, please feel free to reach out to me in whatever way works for you, and I will make my way to you this week. And if you would like to connect more consistently, we have the January Empowerment Pack happening now, as well as the 2025 year ahead reading. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm sending you so much love, light, warmth, comfort, wherever you are. Have a beautiful week, and we'll talk soon. Much love.